We will try to get started here in the next 5 minutes. This is a 5-minute warning, a 5-minute warning. Please take your seats, and we will get started in 5 minutes. That actually would be really good. Yes, I did get the second one, so
That's hot.
we push down to go forward, and so everything's on there.
I thought maybe you were putting them all into a single.
Yeah, so it's all on the whole. So after you're done,
Okay.
mine will be on there.
Okay.
So yeah, then we'll go right into Darlene for witness submission. So
Is there a black at the end of mine?
there was. I
Just
took
the
it off.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that because then it could go to black, and,
There we go.
and
Yeah.
you didn't have to worry about the turning off the projector.
That's true. So
Okay.
yeah,
So-
we should be good to go.
It's not there.
And I do have a microphone. If people do have questions, I'll go out there and give it to them.
All right.
Yep. Thank you, Mike. We will get started in about 2 minutes. Got about 2 more minutes and we will get started. Tim Hodge is supposed to be getting the people out in the fellowship hall, or the gathering place. Ben, I like to walk around a little bit, so I'm going to use this one for right now. As we start taking our seats, just want to thank everyone for being here. Thank everyone who was able to attend our leadership retreat yesterday at Grace Hill Mennonite Church. Had some wonderful conversations that were focused on welcoming and hospitality. So we should, in the near future, start seeing some movement in those directions. And as we get started, some history of kind of how the theme of this particular board meeting outside of the normal work of the church. We have talked in the board several times about being in a different space than we have been in the past. Being able to have staffing that we need, being able to get through some times that have been tough. If you remember the last board meeting, we talked about the different spaces in a river and where we decide to be in the life of the church. And I believe it was Doug Penner that said, man, it's just time to celebrate. We do some great things in this church, and the board is very lucky because we get to, at a pretty high level, get to see all of those things put together. And I don't know if the rest of the congregation always gets to see the great work that the different committees and commissions in this church do. And so that's what created our theme, was joys and celebrations. And so I'm happy to do that today. So let's start off with just a brief prayer. God, thank you for bringing these people together to be the hands of the church, to do the work, to hold each other when it's needed, to pull each other up, and to guide. God, let us take this time to do the work of the church and take time to celebrate each other and what we see in our communities and here at Bethel College Mennonite Church. Amen. So our agenda today is we are going to take a look at our minutes from our September meeting. We'll go over the finance reports from Mike Clausen. He does a ton of work putting all of those together. We have a budget for 2025, and we will do action items on that. Darlene will come up, talk about some of the great things Witness Commission has done in the last year. We will affirm Melanie Mueller to Witness Commission. It's not necessarily a vote to appoint her, but just to affirm the good work that Gifts Discernment has done. And then we'll go through all of these celebrations. We do have some other announcements. George will come up and talk about some of the senior high youth. Jim, Rob, and I have made a bit of a mistake. So one of the things we talked about actually at our leadership retreat is trying to avoid the use of acronyms. And I have used one. So that's something that I'd like to change in the future. So we'll go through Jim, Rob, and then Karen Ediger is going to come up as well. And if we have any other announcements, just know that you are sitting in between people going to lunch if you come up with other announcements. So you could have a hangry mob going for you there. So please take a look in your packets at the minutes from the September 29th Congregational meeting. And I would entertain motions to approve those minutes from the previous meeting. Okay, we've got Dorothy Nickel-Friesen makes the motion. I'd take a second. Got Dale Schrog was first. Good try, Al. But Dale Schrog got you on that one. So Dale Schrog is the second. And we'll do voice vote. All in favor of approving these minutes, please say yes. Yes. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, Mike, come on up. And if you have questions, I'll be able to take this handheld mic for questions for Mike. Mike will use this mic, and I will try not to say the word Mike again.
Well, good morning. I feel like I should say the state of the budget is strong, but I won't. Okay. What we have, whoops, went the wrong way. Forward is down. Is, first of all, going through the comparative balance sheet, which is on page 8 of your packet. I've highlighted a few items in this long list. First is under the assets section at the top, the Everence Trust Investment Fund, that explaining no money is really spent here. It's just that the receipts are market gains and the losses are, or the disbursements are market losses. Next, the BC Mission Service Endowment Fund. There's a large increase in that fund due to the receipt of a bequest that was intended for that purpose. It has not been moved into the Everence Trust MSEF fund that you would find in the assets section, which those two go together. The money that's in the endowment is invested, but this additional bequest that was received this year has not been moved into that fund yet. Bequests increased due to a gift from Nancy Hilty. The general fund unallocated contributions appears to have decreased, but there is an explanation that makes that turn into an actual gain. Half the money of the excess general fund from 2023 was parked in this fund at the beginning of the year. And if you subtract that from the beginning balance, the result is that it actually gained $8,820. So more people were contributing before the year started for 2024 than did for 2023. I shouldn't say more people. I didn't count how many contributions that was. Just more money was contributed, earmarked for the next year. The General Fund 2023 excess contributions received that half of the excess from 2023 at the beginning of the year, the second half. Now, it looks like $17,995 was spent out of there, but there was an issue with a check that was mailed in December not showing up. So a second check was cut to send, which increases the disbursements, but the first check was voided, which also increases the receipts. So they kind of cancel out. And the result is that the Witness Commission still has $5,000.01 left to spend out of what they were authorized or tasked with spending from that 2023 excess. The plant fund increased. This is one that I particularly like to keep up with because of an old building. Need to do something to save money for the day that the rain starts coming through the roof instead of just shedding off. But these are things that happened, contributions that increased it, expenses that came out of it. Nothing major happened. The ice maker was the biggest thing. The scholarships decreased by $4,000 because $4,000 was given to 4 students who are attending Bethel College, $500 per semester for 2 semesters. And no fundraising was done toward building up that fund again. The Education and Service Scholarship Committee, avoiding the acronym ESSC, has added to their budget request a line item that would feed into that fund to replenish it for next year, for 2025, this year actually. Now, the Senior High Youth Fund had a healthy increase. A little over half of that was because they didn't spend their budget line item from the Faith Formation Committee, and the policy is that any unspent portion of that budget line item is transferred to the youth fund. The Solar Project Fund, now that kind of looks pretty bad, but contributions are continuing to be received, and it was always the plan that a rebate that could not be filed for until 2025 was going to be used to pay off at least a portion of that, and perhaps all of it. I don't know exactly where we are on that process right now, but it was, I believe, 30% of the original project cost it was possible to get a rebate for that. And the workers' comp fund went up. That's an item that's a fund that's built up by the workers' comp line item in the staff expenses budget. And normally, it's pretty much a wash. But because the audit for last year ended up being so much in our favor, and they refunded $772 nearly, that fund has really gotten a lot bigger than it needs to be. We do have it still in the budget for 2025, but it may be that we'd be able to eliminate that for 2026, at least a large part of it, in order to not have such a large balance in that fund, because it's not necessary. It's it's known at the beginning of the year what you're going to be spending. So finally, those are the things that I felt like would be interesting to highlight. Does anybody else think there's something they want to know about?
This will be regarding the 2024 budget and any of the things that Mike talked about. We'll answer questions about that after we vote on accepting his report, then we'll move on to the 2025 budget proposal. Any questions regarding 2024?
I have to do the second half of 2024.
Oh, he's still got another half of 2024. Nope, there we go. Any questions on the first part of 2024? Seeing none?
All right.
There you go.
Now we get into the income and expense part. Total contributions received, $511,397.10, which was 95.17% of the budget. Expenses, a bit less, only 93.85% of the budget, which results in a net income, you can say, of $7,091.89. Now, that will stay where it is. We're not worried about income loss. We're worried about general fund. General fund is limited to a maximum amount of 2 months worth of budgeted expenses in that year. And we're talking about 2024 right now. So the beginning balance was $80,938.50, which was exactly 2/12 of the 23 budget. The net income, if you add it, brings the ending balance of the fund to a little over $88,000. That is not, excuse me, that is not more than 2 months worth of the 2024 budget. So we could have actually made a little more and before we needed to get into figuring out what to do with the excess. So even though it looks like we had a net income, it's the general fund that we're really worried about. Now, to go through the different areas of the budget, the commissions section at the top of the income and expense report starts on page 11. Each of the commissions spent this percentage of their budget, and as a total, 97%. The board committees spent a lower portion as a group, only 85%, but 3 of them, gifts discernment, was right at 100%, but they always are. That goes into a fund that is available for people who want to attend conferences. The Finance Committee was a little over. Bethel College Relations Committee was a little over, but that's good. Yay. So in the Facilities Committee, the 2 things that were significant in their little bit of an overage were that the fire alarm line item was at 149% of its budget. And that is explained by needing to replace 8 smoke detectors during the year at a cost of almost $1,500. The facilities maintenance budget is right at 100%, but if they don't go over, then it is maxed out by putting the unused part into the plant fund. The big thing there was that the glass doors here at the south entrance had to be replaced. In the Finance Committee, you may have noticed that the postage spending for postage was well above budget. So we'll have to watch that this year and look at increasing the budget request for 2026. Then we move on to the staff section, which is on page 6. Page 6 of my report, page 16 of the whole packet. Expenses were at only 63% of budget, payroll 102%, or a total of 96% when it's all combined. One big thing in this one is that the health insurance was well under budget. And that was, I believe, because at the beginning of the year, there was no timeline for a new pastor coming on. So we planned for health insurance for a new pastor for the whole year, and then didn't need it for the whole year. And the final section is on that same page 16, the contingency items for the board and the pastors. And hopefully you never see those maxed out. So that's the income and expenses. Are there any questions about that?
Questions? Okay.
Hopefully those notes were all helpful and answered some questions before we got here.
I want to make sure we thank Mike and the Finance Committee for the amazing work that they did for this year. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, I will entertain a motion to accept the 2024 financial report. Frank Stuckey makes the motion, and Darlene Dick with a second. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Okay.
All right. Then the next item is the budget. The requested budget amount is $557,000, hard to say sometimes, and $387. And that's a 3.73% increase over 2024. 2024 was, as I recall, more than 10% above 2023. So the amount of increase has leveled off. And that's the only thing I have to say about the budget. All those notes should have explained any significant changes. Are there any questions about other things?
Real quick, the different committees and commissions, I think, did a really good job this year of taking a look of where they're actually spending their dollars and trying to make adjustments where necessary. I'll speak on behalf of Faith Formation. We noticed several line items that we hadn't used for a few years, and so we removed those or changed the names of what those budget lines would be. And we actually, as a commission, decreased our budget based on what our actual needs were. So I truly appreciate the leadership for all the commissions and the committees of doing that work of evaluating where their actual spending is. Any questions about the 2025 budget? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the 2025 budget. Al Peters with the motion. I'll entertain a second. Okay, we've got Hugo Boschman with the second. Okay, all in favor of accepting the 2025 budget, please say yes. Yes. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much, Mike. Okay. This is the part where we start to celebrate a little bit what we've done this year. And Witness Commission had a special task that the board asked them to do. So I asked Darlene Dick if she would come up as a representative and talk a little bit about their work this year.
Thank you to the congregation, to the board, for giving us the opportunity to figure out how to spend money in meaningful ways. So we did not take this lightly. We debated lots of different things as to how we might spend the money. Probably the first idea that we had was that we wanted to choose one significant project that would reach out into the community. And that was our plan, to have David Gushy come to speak to both the church, the college, and the community. So That, if you are looking at, I think you would have that somewhere in your booklets, that was an expense of slightly over $5,000 for his honorarium and for a couple $100 for lodging. Then we looked at other projects that the church has supported in the past, and we gave $1,000 to Tariq, who is a Palestinian who is in the United States, and I think he's in the Harrisonburg, Virginia area, but for the relief for his family, even though he wasn't there. Then we gave money to smaller amounts to the Newton Area Senior Center. We're very aware that they are in outreach in the community. Then the Brethren Mennonite Council, we gave $1,000 for a conference that will be for sort of the gay and lesbian LGBTQ kind of focus that will happen on a campus this spring. We gave $1,000 for that. We gave $1,000 to the Newton Area Community for Racial Justice, NCRJ, which we intended for much of that to be used for scholarships for the anti-racism training that will be taking place this year in February. We gave money to MDS. We were very grateful for all the work that they have been doing. And I must add, as a side note, I just returned from a week in Tupelo, Mississippi, painting and repairing from tornado damage there. So MDS does a wonderful job. Then you have seen the photos in your emails of Max Ediger's building project, the Peace School in Myanmar. So we've seen the classrooms that have been built. So there are a couple of major constructions that are finished, and they are ready, and I think have started the dormitories so that they will be ready to have people joining them. And that is the place where we were sending a check to a United States address, and Max is asking me, we haven't gotten the check, we haven't gotten the check. And finally, we said, okay, we'll send another one. Then just tear up the other one. And so it finally came. They came one day apart, even though they were mailed a month apart. So we were very glad to give to that. Then MMN, Mennonite Mission Network, is often sponsoring people to be working in another country, and it was the Woodward Breckbills who were going to Paris, and so we gave $1,500 for that project. And I think that pretty much uses up about $1,500 of that $1,900. And so we have set aside $5,000 to be used for internships that would be specifically for peace and justice concerns. So those are not just for our individual church, but for an outreach. So there are often plans that are in place where people or ideas need some backing for that. So we have been very, very grateful to have had these funds to make use of. Then I have another matter, but one other thing I want to say is when we're up to the affirmation, whatever the word is, for Melanie Mueller's position on this commission, that we are a very involved and active commission. And we had one woman, me, and 4 men. And we wanted a better gender balance, as well as just another person. And so Melanie Mueller was willing to serve on the commission. So we are grateful for that. Then that ends my report, except I have a request. I'm often getting information and requests from the Bethel College Community for Justice and Peace. And about a week ago, I got one from Abby Chapel Deckert asking if we could contribute money toward airplane tickets for 7 Bethel students to attend the Intercollegiate Peace Fellowship, which is in Harrisonburg, Virginia. She said they are trying to raise $1,000, kind of like somewhat from our congregation. And she said, oh, we are willing to contribute music, sermon, do anything that you would like to have. And so we have had a significant back and forth relationship with the BCCJP. And so what I am asking this morning is whether there are Sunday school budgets that are flush that would be willing to make a contribution toward that. So we don't have a specific place to go for that, though maybe if we get a sermon from one of them. And there are, I think, people in that group who are interested in the ministry, so might well enjoy a chance to preach a sermon here, that we could use some money that would usually be given to a fill-in minister for a guest pastor. So if your Sunday school class has extra money that you would like to give to a worthy cause for 7 students to get to this intercollegiate Peace Fellowship, just talk to me during the mealtime. I think that's it.
I want to really thank Witness Commission and Darlene. A lot of folks might think that when you have extra funds to spend that is easy, and that is not the case. I appreciate your discernment and your commission's work to show this community what Bethel College Mennonite Church is all about. So thank you very much for that. As Darlene mentioned, we're adding a new member. We have added a new member to the Witness Commission. And this is another just plug for the work that Gifts Discernment does. It is not easy to reach out to folks and ask them to serve. And I appreciate, and this church appreciates, that job. So let's take a look at this here. I'm noticing I may have made a misspelling, but I don't know. So we have this note to affirm Melanie Mueller to the Witness Commission. I would, again, this is not an appointment, but just an affirmation of the gifts of Melanie and of Gifts Discernment's choosing of Melanie. So I would take a motion to accept this affirmation statement. We've got Ada Schmidt-Thiessen with the motion, and is there a second? And we've got Carol Peters. Okay. All in favor of affirming this, please say yes. Okay, this is the fun part. These are the joys. I asked different chairs of committees to be able to submit some of the joys that they have had this year and the work that they have done. And so I am very pleased to share these with you. I feel like we should have some sort of like emotional, happy music in the background as we go through it, but we don't. So first up was Worship Commission. Worship Commission is celebrating that there are many persons of all ages who offer their gifts to create and enhance vibrant worship here at BCMC, and I wholeheartedly agree. Persons volunteering as lay worship leaders, readers, musicians, candlelighters, artists, storytellers, ushers, nursery helpers and greeters, AV techs, and more. The Worship Commission also celebrates the willingness of Lois, Adam, and Dorothy, who each volunteer several months as the worship coordinator. Let's give those folks a round of applause. As I just spoke about gifts discernment, here they are. Man, this would be a tough job. So you guys do it well. In discerning the abilities needed and the possible congregants to ask to serve. Gifts Discernment Committee members rejoice with each yes response and understand that there's always a possibility of a no. At present, we do have 13 vacancies for the different board commissions and 32 members serving on those. Your willingness to serve is greatly appreciated. Let's give them a round of applause for their work. Pastor Joanna decided to share a joy too. She said it's been a joy to be a part of Bethel College Mennonite Church. She has been surprised and delighted that God has called her to do this life and ministry with the community. Let's give our whole pastoral and ministry team with Jill and George and Nathan and Elizabeth and Monica for helping out with this. Deacons Commission, you guys do a ton, and this is really tiny print. But I was just delighted to see. I'm going to highlight some of these, and we can probably add this to an email if we need to, because Deacons Commission does a lot of work. So they have been sending cards and letters to individuals who are unable to attend church, and that brings joy to my heart that we're connecting the physical place here and the congregants that are here to those who cannot attend. During Christmas season, they had an Advent season, they had in the back those open letters for us all to sign and add notes of joy to. During Thanksgiving, we invited folks to contribute to the Caring Fund. December 1st was the first Advent of the Christmas season, and they were involved in that communion service, which was beautiful. Contributions have been made for the community for, this is great, the USD 373, so that's here in Newton, social workers. That is fantastic. We joined the larger Newton community in completion of an inclusive playground at Slate Creek Elementary School. And Elizabeth Schmidt has been doing a lot of visitation and been the liaison for the deacons this year as well. So let's give the deacons a round of applause for their work. That's incredible. Staff Congregation Relations Committee. I made sure not to use an acronym on that one. They have enjoyed welcoming Joanna and watching as the pastors have created an effective team, hearing about Nathan's sabbatical plans, asking the congregation to write thank you notes to pastors. That was a lot of fun to do. Thinking creatively with the pastors and worship commission about professional growth funds, and reviewing and updating various policies. That's a joy, but I guess it is. Let's give Staff Congregation Relations Committee a round of applause. Our music coordinators made a contribution to this too. So Will submitted this, just loves being a part of a church that is supportive of their work as a musician and is so appreciative that this congregation acknowledges the amount of effort and time that goes into selecting and preparing music by sitting down to listen to their contributions to the worship service. It's an attitude that really encourages each of us involved in music to strive for excellence in what they do. I agree 100%. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, so this one I really wanted to use an acronym for because it's a really long name, but I did not. The Bethel College Mennonite Church Task Group for Indigenous Justice. They have been working hard in supporting the indigenous folks in our community and beyond. So dedication of the Sacred Red Rocks return to the Kansa people at Council Grove, and initiation of an educational center there, helping host Sarah Augustine at Bethel, and joining with other congregations in Central Kansas Regional Repair Group, joining an amicus brief with 85 congregations and groups in support of the Apache Strongholds Court case to save sacred land at Oak Flat from Resolution Copper, repairing the coalition's initiation of the Land Back Remediation Fund, and prayer for peace on the BCMC peace poll in the Kiowa language, and then freeing of Leonard, and I do not know how to say his last name, Peltier, with Biden pardon, and a joy for those in our congregation who have worked on his behalf. Great work. Thank you very much from the Indigenous Justice Task Group. The BCMC Library Committee. They serve the congregation of readers, and there are a ton of readers here, that is for sure, who not only make use of the church library, but also donate favorite books from personal collections, enabling us to provide quality books far beyond what we could provide via the budget alone. Once a month, and this is close to my heart, our children come to the library during Faith Formation Hour to share their love of reading and enthusiasm for books with volunteer members of the committee. What a delight it is to witness their excitement from everything from Bible stories to fiction and nonfiction. Thank you to the Library Committee. Faith Formation. We are blessed to be a part of the Faith Formation Commission and actually look forward to our meetings. The cohesiveness and support of Faith Formation members is a valued treasure. This group has goals that are centered on what's best for our children and youth here at Bethel College Mennonite Church. The energy and collective enthusiasm makes being a part of Faith Formation a true joy. And I would like to add just the extra work that George and Jill put into creating a wonderful learning opportunity for our children and youth is spectacular and needed. Thank you very much to Faith Formation. And now, George Leary for the senior high youth. Going to give an update on what they are doing. Here comes a bunch of kids. Slowly sauntering up to the front. I thought some of you were track stars. Hey, where?
Have you guys seen George?
Where's George?
George.
George, where are you?
I'll call him.
Okay.
Let me give him
Do you
one.
have his cell phone number?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
We have a group chat.
Oh. Yes. That's exciting. Where did you, he knew he was supposed to be here.
He might still be in Florida.
Hey, this George.
Hey, you came back from Florida, right?
What do you mean?
Like you're here for the youth group report at
Today?
church. Yeah. Like
Right
the
now?
congregational meeting.
I can't do it.
Oh.
I'm there.
Well,
Okay, go to Plan B. Implement Plan B right now.
yeah, I know we were supposed to talk about Plan B on Wednesday, but we did not talk about Plan B on Wednesday.
Oh shoot. Is it awkward? Is everybody looking at you?
Well, I mean, you're on speaker, so everybody's also hearing you too.
But they're all looking at you, aren't they?
Yeah.
I bet that's awkward.
Just a bit.
Okay. We can do this. Your parents have raised you well. The church has supported you well. We can do this. Okay. What I want you guys to do is tell the congregation all the things you've done this year.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
okay. Well, I mean, we had our service and learning trip.
It's true. Yeah. We also went Christmas caroling.
Yeah, we went Christmas caroling. What else did we do?
We had a good conversation with Justina Neufeld.
Oh yeah, Justina came in and she talked to us and gave us her whole presentation. That was good.
Is that Mara whispering? Why is she whispering?
We don't really know. She just came and didn't have a voice.
Because she usually talks really loudly. Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, tell them about MennoCon, upcoming MennoCon. Tell them
Oh.
about that trip.
Yes. The theme is following Jesus, and it's in North Carolina.
We're really excited.
What's this, Ada?
Tell me
Ada,
dates.
can you say what this is again?
It's MennoCon 2025.
2025, okay.
We went to 2023. You know,
Nice shirts.
This one's a little farther away, so it's going to take a little bit more to get there. But it's
Yeah.
in Greensboro, North Carolina, from July 8th through 12th. And what did you say there was on the first day, George?
Tell them July 8th is a special Women in Leadership Summit.
Yes, the Women's in Leadership Summit, and we hope to also attend that as well. like we did the climate summit last year.
Okay. Okay, now tell them about the soup luncheon and that it's a fundraiser and we need some money.
Oh yeah, there's a soup luncheon today. Kind of slipped my mind a bit, but there's a soup luncheon today and it's downstairs after this meeting, and we are raising funds for us to go to MinnoCon 2025, and we hope to see you guys there.
And last thing, tell them about the fun facts activity that we have and how we get to know each youth member.
See, this is what we got carried away with on Wednesday when we didn't get Plan B. But we have a fun fact activity. So every youth here has a fact, or like a fun fact, and then there's their name, and it's like a matching activity, sort of like we did, I think, at our first soup luncheon. But it's a way for us to interact with you and for you to ask us questions. Should be pretty fun. There's some fun ones on there. Is there anything else, George?
I think you did well. You can ask for questions, but I'm afraid if you ask a question, like maybe Dale Schrog would ask a question, I don't think we want that, do we?
I mean, if it's an easy one.
Okay, ask if they have any easy questions, but don't make contact with Dale.
Okay. Are there any easy questions? Oh, what's for lunch? Well, it's soup. And it's a new and improved recipe.
Is there a specific kind of soup that we're having?
Well, I don't know. Adam calls it his life-changing soup. So it might be life-changing, who knows?
Okay, let's cut it off. We've talked long enough.
Okay.
Tell him we'll see him downstairs in a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. See you later, George.
Thanks, bye.
Well, join us downstairs after this meeting and eat some soup.
Yeah, I thought George knew he was supposed to be here today. Okay, Jim. Oh, we got a question. Oh, Dale. Okay. Yes, Dale. Oh. Okay.
No, I just want to say, speaking on behalf of my grandchildren, that George Leary is one of the most incredible gifts that Bethel College Mennonite Church has, and I hope you realize that, and I hope you tell him. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jim, I was guessing this is what you're talking about.
Well, actually, slash Everence on there too.
Slash Everence.
I know that you're all hungry and we're running out of time here, and there's no way that I can compete with what has already been presented here. So I just wanted to make sure that there's a few things that you know, or that I feel like I should tell you. Kansas Mennonite Relief Sale is April 11 and 12. Second weekend in April, unless it coincides with Easter, and it doesn't, so it's 11th and 12th. We're in a situation where, if you look at the calendar, it looks like it's a ways off yet. If you look at it from my desk, it's not very far. And so there's lots of things that we need to do. Primarily, what I want to say to you as a congregation is thank you for all the support that you give to the Kansas Mennonite Relief Sale, whether that is financial, whether that is in terms of volunteers, whether that is because through the prayer and support that you give for that endeavor, it is greatly appreciated. There's no way that we cannot pull this off unless we have lots of congregations who commit lots of themselves. One of the things that I was struck by today, as I was in the congregation, was that this over here, this poster over here, because that is what MCC does, and that is what what the Kansas Mennonite Relief Sale does through the MCC. We gather together, we create a community. It's maybe at some point it was Mennonite, Anabaptist. Now it's just a whole lot of people who see themselves as a community. We come together for a week in Hutchinson at the State Fairgrounds. I'm there on Monday. More people come on Tuesday. More people come on Wednesday. A lot of people come on Thursday. And then Friday and Saturday, there are a whole lot of people come. But we come, and no matter what happens, we are there for one purpose, which is to serve Jesus and in his words to help others around the world who need help. And so that's what our task is. That's what we do. I appreciate your help. I appreciate the ways in which you contribute financially, prayer-wise, involvement-wise, and just by being interested. So thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you. So the other item that I wanted to talk about also sort of relates to this, which is Everence. And in 2022, Everence started talking about the fact that they felt that they kind of needed to revamp what they were doing. And so for us who are Everence delegates, I can't come up with the word I wanted to come up with there. What's that? Okay, that'll work. Then they start talking to us about this, and that it's going to take them a year, essentially, to kind of redo this. So the year 2023 was what it was called the Jubilee year. We didn't really have to worry about sending in reports. We didn't have to worry about doing anything except trying to figure out in our own individual situations what stewardship may mean to you, and what we can do in order to get ready for what is going to change. So 2024 was the year that a new plan went into place. And so kind of the rules of being able to capitalize on their benevolent grants changed. So that it used to be that you were task-oriented. You did this, and 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 if you had this many people on Everence products, then you qualified for up to $3,000 that could be used in conjunction with your own caring fund or church-related fund to help within the community. What it comes down to now is there are 4 quarterly reports that I have to write with the help of other people. But it basically is, what are you doing in your congregation? How can we help? These are some ideas that you might be able to use. This is some information that you might be able to use. This is what we'd like you to do. And so then we respond to that. We respond to, this is what we're doing. This is what possibly we could do. If we're not doing it yet, then we say we're not doing this yet. And it doesn't matter, because if you're not doing it at all, it doesn't have any impact. It's simply not time. But the main thing is that they gave us, they called it an annual report. In my mind, annual reports are due at the end of the year. This annual report, we started in about February. We had to be done in August. But it's a misnomer, because it's not a report. It is an evaluation in which we take a look at our congregation based on some of the things that they feel are important to see where we are. And it's very, it has been very eye-opening. When you start pulling all this together, and why do we do this? And again, what's in the background is Everence is saying that every church should have the opportunity to create an idea about stewardship that fits them. And so I really want to get through some things really quickly here because you're all ready to go. But there's the ministry wheel, the stewardship ministry wheel that we have to take a look at. And one is planning for the future. Well, you know, when you have a leadership retreat and you have a budget that is really taking care of a lot, when you take a look at the projects that you need to have, when you have endowment funds available, when you provide benefits for your staff, and and leadership resources, then you're already doing that. You're doing that pretty well. That's what we do. If you telling our story, that's one of the categories that they would like us to take a look at. Do we have a vision for our ministry? Well, I think our common purpose statement takes care of that. Preaching biblical stories, quite often, I think. Sharing testimonies, happened today. Narrative budgets, been doing that for a long time. So what I guess I'm saying is that because we've had some really good people in good positions for a long time, we are doing things that lots of congregations are not. And so we are ahead in some things. There are a couple areas where we didn't quite know, and one of the things that was created was a stewardship team. And so it was me, Elizabeth Schmidt, Jeanette Leary, and Karen Ediger. And we looked at this, and so they were together. And so there were a couple of things that we didn't know exactly how we were doing this. How are we doing here? And one of those was thanking. Well, you know, if I was to do that now, after what I've just seen, then I think we do an awfully good job of thanking people and understanding that thanking is important and understanding that thanking is significant and that the joys and the things that we do are important. And that, so that is one thing that we thought we should do better, but maybe we have to reconsider. The other is teaching. Teaching about biblical stewardship. You know, and this is a wide range of kinds of things to do. But again, what I think, and again highlighted again by the congregational meeting today, and what information has been shown is that the best way to engage in stewardship is to follow Jesus, to listen to Jesus, and to do what is needed. So what I'm trying to tell you is, I think that in terms of Everence, they're a great organization who provide us with lots of direction, will allow us to keep evaluating ourselves every year to see where we need to work and what we need to do. It is my privilege as the Everence advocate to be able to work with the deacons on providing the Everence Benevolence Fund, and it's always it's a great part of what I do, because I get to talk to the people of Everence and they say, "Oh, those are great ideas." Now they don't always fund us because they may be a little different. Because Everence funded us with the USD 373 plan, because those were basic needs, and so there was not a problem. But they said they liked the idea about the playground, but they said, you know, that's really not a basic need. It would be nice, but our guidelines don't give us that. But they said, we'll be thinking of you as your church contributes that in your community. So that's what I want to say, which is basically thank you for the way that you support the Everence and the way that Everence can support you. And thank you for your help with the relief sale, and thank you for being the community that you are, that takes care of each other.
Thank you, Jim. I asked Karen Ediger to come up, and she's going to make a couple of announcements. If we have any other announcements, let me know, and we can do that. But Ada promises that hers is short.
I want to thank Jim Robb especially for his work with Everence, because that's very important to the work of the deacons, and he does a great job at that. But right now I'm here representing, if I understand the actual title of the committee, Education and Service Scholarships Committee. We give two sets of scholarships out every year to our students. One is funded by the endowment, the Bethel College Mennonite Church Mission and Endowment, Service Endowment, and that's a $500 per semester scholarship to students who go to peace-related colleges and universities. And it's also for service projects of individuals. There's another scholarship that we give to Bethel College, students who go to Bethel College from this church. That's a commitment that this church has made, but it is not in the budget. It's been by donation only. And it seems to us that since it's a commitment that the church has made, it should be made known to the church that by being in the budget. So we've asked that it be in the budget this year, and we thank you for approving that budget. While I'm up here, I'm going to take the time to encourage you to come to the Mennonite Disaster Service annual celebration, which is February 14th and 15th. It's a big deal. It's 75 years since Mennonite Disaster Service was started, and it was started here in Kansas. The timing is great. Take your significant other out for Valentine's Day. Friday night, come and eat Hog Wild barbecue at the Ridge Point Church in Wichita on West 21st Street. Hog Wild's pretty good barbecue. And then come and listen to Tim Schrog, who is an entertaining speaker, do the keynote speech in the worship center at that church. In order to know how many people are coming, we do need you to register. Go online and search MDS Celebration, or check out the poster down the hall that has a QR code that will take you to the site, and register for the events that you're interested in there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. You had me at Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. And with that, unless there are other announcements, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.